In a time when the people of the world, desperate and suppressed by the monotony of daily life, needed saving the most, two unlikely heroes emerged. With mics in hand and jokes aplenty, the heroes set out to entertain the world, and a podcast was born. You are now listening to Chopping It Up. Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Chopping It Up. We appreciate you tuning in. This is episode 8, and we're just going to jump right into it. So we always start every episode with off the cuff, and my talking subject today, my topic, it stems from running the social media page for the podcast. It's Chop Podcast on Instagram if you're interested.
One word.
One word. You guys have heard the plug before, you know. But one thing that was really bothering me today is I think people really misuse social media. And I'm not talking about like Mark Zuckerberg spying on the entire populace of the world here. I'm talking just your average Joe. Social media is a great tool for building a community and for getting to know people, and people take advantage of that. So one thing that I see a lot running the Instagram page for the podcast is I see a lot of like the spam bots, and we have plenty of users that, you know,
we love our fans.
Yeah, we love our fans. We have tons of people who interact with us, and a lot of our listeners are
by tons. You mean like 25?
We're getting up there. It's starting to improve. But obviously, a lot of our fans are our personal friends, so we discuss it with them, just in person. But one thing I have noticed is the spam bots on Instagram. It kind of drives me nuts because you have this tool where you can contact. We can connect with other podcasts, and we love that. We love to see other people's podcasts. And, it's a good way to find new shows, new things to listen to, new people with hints and ideas and whatnot. But then you also get these people that pay for it. They pay for the followers, and they, you got
to get that follower ratio up.
You got to get the follower ratio up, but it's not genuine. They're choosing quantity over quality. They plug in like an emoji or something like that, and it just...
Hashtag like for a like.
Yeah. And it just
follow for follow.
It just plugs in on every single one of the posts that they interact with. The bot just goes through and likes 50,000 posts or whatever. And it's like that defeats the purpose.
Where's the fun in this? Right?
Where's the fun? And what are you getting out of that? Like, okay, yeah, you have a good number on your account. Congratulations, but you don't have any actual fans. Do
you think that
it's just
they post something and they get 2,000 likes, and do you think they feel good about themselves, even though they probably paid for half of those likes, or you think they're just like, what are we doing here?
That's what I mean.
What am I doing with my life?
I would much rather, we get, probably on average about 20 likes on a photo right now. We're just starting out. That's fine. But I know that a good number of those are people that actually listen to our show, actually appreciate,
and they like the picture. That's why they liked it.
I would much rather have 20 people,
or it's a pity like from our friends, which we'll take. We will take those.
You got to start somewhere. But I'd much rather have 20 people who actually give a shit than 200,000 people who never even looked at it. And that's one thing that was on my mind today. It's I hate people choosing quantity over quality. It's just build a real community. And if you're going to be a part of ours, we want you to actually engage with us.
I feel that's a serious gripe. I like that off the cuff.
I know. We try to keep it lighthearted, but that one was just kind of nagging at me. So.
And transitioning to mine has also been nagging at me all day, but mine's kind of a little more laid back, but a little more serious, I guess, at the same time. And I'll give a little backstory here. So at where I work, I test water. That's my day job right now. So shout out to safe, drink potable water.
Yeah, and good water pressure. Yeah,
yeah, you need that. Major key. Water is important.
Yeah,
and so I test water, and where we park in the morning to go to work, the lot is shared by a boat business. a business who stores boats for the winter.
Right.
And then they put them into the Norwich Marina during the summer. And so the lot is split. You know, there's a little barricade. The boats are on one side, and we park on the other. And this is agreed upon by both sides that this is our parking lot, and that's where the boats are. And today we come into work, and the boat business put boats in our parking lot.
Oh, nice.
And so where we park, there's a cul-de-sac where the city buses turn around every morning. So there's really not anywhere to park. Like, you can't just be like, oh, I'll just park on the curb over here. I'll just park. There's really not much room to park. And so is it a problem? Yes. Would I rather have not had the boats in the lot where we usually park? Yes. But does it really matter? Absolutely not. I mean, you can still kind of...
What'd you end up doing?
I kind of just squeezed the car into the corner.
I think the power move would be to like put.
So here's the
car...
thing: it's not an ideal spot to park, but it's fine. Like, you get away with it. There's not a ton of room. So now, if we had more employees, it would become a serious issue because there's not a lot of room. But you know, I make do with what I got. I found a way.
It sounds like this is a building struggle. We're building tension here. Maybe we get some tussles in the parking lot later.
No, so this is this was just the backstory. That was not very short. I'm sorry, people. And so I come into work, and one of my coworkers, she's not going to listen to this, so I'm really not worried at all. She gets upset over the littlest things. Like, I mean, if I don't clean the test tubes in 5 minutes, even though they don't need to be cleaned until tomorrow, she'll come in and she'll be like, you need to clean the test tubes, while she's sitting on Facebook.
It'd be pretty funny if she was actually one of our biggest fans.
It would be.
Just alienating the hell out of her right now.
I'm fine with it. I only got a month left. We're good.
Yeah, all right.
And so, I basically do all of her work during the summer while she's on Facebook on her timeline. So that kind of irks me a little bit. But today she comes in and she is complaining and bitching and moaning the entire day. Like, this wasn't her complaining about not having a parking spot for 5 minutes and then move on with her day, which most people would do. She literally complained about this for 6 hours. Every person who came into the lab, she complained to them about it. She got to the point where she was screaming at these people. Like, I'm like, take it easy on these people. They have nothing to do with the boats being parked in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And she was screaming at it. And then she proceeds to say, I hate all the people in charge here who don't have any balls to make a difference.
Holy cow.
And call and make a difference. And finally, I'm a very non-confrontational person.
Oh, yeah, you let everything blow over.
Finally, I just said to her, I was like, why don't you call?
Oh,
I was
nice.
like, why don't you
call?
I was like, why don't you call and do? Because she's been talking about how she would do this, she would do this, she would attach the boat to a truck, and then she would bring the boat in the middle of the cul-de-sac.
She's going to tow someone else's boat.
Yeah, so then the city buses would have to turn around, and then they wouldn't be able to turn around, so then they'd have to call the mayor, who would have to call this guy. And she's going on and on for, I'm not kidding, 2 hours today. And finally, I had enough, and I was just like, why don't you call? And she goes, well, I'm not the boss.
Oh, right.
So
yeah,
one of those.
It's easy to talk.
So one of those. And so then I, luckily I listen to my headphones while I'm at work. I listen to podcasts, especially ours. And so finally I thought I had just blown over. And then like 15 minutes later, she starts back up for another 2 hours. And this was a very long off the cuff. Once again, I'm sorry. But basically my point here is that if you're going to complain about something that much, do something about it, right? I'm fine with someone complaining about something for 5-10 minutes. I get that. We're all greedy humans. We all want things better, even though some of us have everything that we need in life, and we still think that we want more, so we complain for 5-10 minutes. I get that. But the fact that she complained for hours on end, and then at the end of the day she did nothing, nothing upsets me more than that. And I just needed to get that off my chest because I felt it was a perfect off the cuff.
Do something about it.
I mean, it was unbelievable today. I had to turn up my podcast. That's how loud she was yelling in the lab.
Were you listening on the Podbean app? Because that's the way to go.
Well, I downloaded the Podbean app to my phone.
Did you download it for ours?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's good. I have actually I've never used the app. I'm just curious to see if it's it's pretty solid.
Yeah, so download the Podbean app. Give
I'm gonna have to.
give us a follow, and you can listen to all of our episodes.
You know me; it's a real problem because I have a Samsung phone that's about 5 years old, and that thing has about 2 megabytes free, and so I don't download apps.
And so you having the Samsung phone and you not downloading the app,
I make a lot of mistakes.
That's a chop move. That's definitely a chop move. But there's no bigger chop move of the week. And once again, Mr. Steiner, you're going to win the chop move of the week.
Yeah.
And you want to explain to everyone what you did this week.
So I moved into a new apartment, and it's, almost an hour away from Frankie's house where we record. And so I drove all the way down here today. And, we like to live dangerously because we produce a Friday morning podcast Thursday night. And, we should maybe get our stuff together. Maybe choose
just a high level turnaround.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
We're high stress, and we feel like that produces the best results. A diamond in the rough. High pressure, good reward.
I like that.
Well, either way, I took advantage of us living dangerously today because I forgot the microphone. Drove all the way down here. Forgot to bring the mic with me. We're recording on a MacBook.
So in case you were listening and you're like, this doesn't quite sound right.
Yeah, if the quality is terrible, that's on me, guys. I promise it won't ever happen
I think
again.
it actually still sounds okay, but if it's not as good as usual, you can blame Jeff for that one.
Yeah.
He wins Chop Move of the Week. And just a reminder, don't forget to message us on Instagram through the DMs. Slide in those DMs on Chop Podcast, which is one word, or email us at choppodcast@gmail.com to submit your Chop Move stories for a chance to win the Chop Move of the Week.
Yeah, and you get a shout out.
I think you're leading right now with 2.
Unfortunately, yes.
Is that 2 Chop Moves?
I have been the Chop of the Week twice, and it's dignified. I feel like I'm leading my people.
Yeah, it's actually what we like to see from Chopping It Up Podcast.
It's a positive for us. It's just
we're sticking to our persona.
So
I need to get a Chop Move of the Week going here.
It gets tough
in order to
you
join
pick
in.
it up.
I got to join in the fun.
What are you becoming a normal human being? Come on.
I guess so.
We can't be doing this.
And we're gonna introduce a new segment here. We're gonna do a little fantasy dating with Jeffrey Steiner, and so this one's quite simple. Jeff, what is your ideal date? First, who is it with?
Yep. Okay.
And what are you doing on your ideal date?
Okay. So I think there's one person that a lot of our personal friends, I'm just gonna leave it out there. They are probably expecting one particular woman, but we're gonna mix it up.
The initials SJ.
Yeah. It may. She may play Black Widow in the Marvel Universe. She's a personal favorite, but I'm not taking her on a date. Okay. We're mixing it up. She's got to wait a little while.
We've heard enough about her.
She hasn't earned it yet. You know who I'm going to take on a date?
Who are you taking on a date?
Fantasy date. I'm taking Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway.
Yeah. Real
nice, classy woman.
She's a dark horse. She's classy. She's a beautiful woman, but probably doesn't get as much recognition as she should. She seems very smart. And that's an intimidating date. I got to be honest. If you're taking Anne Hathaway on a date as an average Joe, you better make it good. And so I can't.
Just remember your classic line. It's just another human.
And she's just another human. That's right. Yeah. If you ever get starstruck, just remember they're just another human. But anyway. I can't go with the irregular dinner and a movie. You can't go with something like that. I think
you gonna take her golfing?
Nope. She doesn't seem like a golf type. I think we blow her mind a little bit, take her a little bit out of her comfort zone. We're going bungee jumping.
Bungee jumping.
Yeah, surprise her.
I like that. Where would you do this?
I'll go first because for probably the one time that you shouldn't say ladies first because then you just look like a coward, or a really smart person depending on your perspective, I guess.
I'm gonna go with the coward.
Yeah. Would you ask where? Where would it be?
Yeah, where are you doing the bungee jump? You gonna do a scenic place? You gonna do?
Well, I've never been. I don't know where it's available, but I guess my ideal place, I would go bungee jumping. Probably let's say somewhere out in California. It's
Cali.
scenic. It's attractive. I'm tempted towards the Golden Gate Bridge, but something tells me that's probably against the law to run a bungee jumping operation off of that.
That'd be pretty neat, though.
It would be pretty sweet. So yeah, I don't know. Probably.
So just bungee jumping.
Yes. We'll leave it open ended. If she has a good time.
We'll leave it open.
Well, yeah, I guess that doesn't leave much for conversation. We'd be screaming the whole time, probably.
Yeah, not much conversation going.
Wow, Anne Hathaway, do not go on a date with me.
Maybe she would just
apparently.
really admire the way that you jumped.
Let's
in the form that you had.
all right. Well, we'll remedy it a little bit. It's a place that you need to walk to. Maybe you need to hike up to a spot.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll find a spot, Anne. Don't worry about it. I'll find a spot. We hike up to where you jump off, and you talk along the hike, and you hike back down, and you talk about it afterwards, and everybody's thrilled. And I say, hey, well, I'll catch you next Tuesday. Something like that. Second date. I
like that.
I think that would be the play.
I think that sounds good.
Yeah.
So, Anne, if you're listening,
probably not likely, but hey, you never know.
Jeffrey Steiner wants to take you on a date.
I'll have to run it by my girlfriend.
What if she's afraid of heights?
Even better. Even better.
But you're not thinking about her fears.
No, I'm helping her overcome her fears.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Like the way you think.
Making it better.
Yeah.
So we're actually part of the reason why we did this short segment today. We figured we'd try out something different, just a new topic to talk about. Is we actually have a special show today. So I talked about how important it is to build community, and that's something that we're trying to do here. And so Frankie and I discussed it, and we thought it would be a great idea if we did a little 2-part mini-series for all you listeners to get to know the hosts. So I'm going to interview Frankie today.
A lot of pressure on me today.
Yeah.
First
this is first impression.
Yeah.
So I'll interview Frankie today, and he will interview me at a later date, probably next week, most likely.
Most likely next week.
That'll just give you guys an opportunity to get to know us a little bit better. And for those of you who already know us and are our friends and have to deal with us every single day, maybe we'll surprise you a little bit. So as soon as we get back from the break, I think we'll jump right into my interview with Frankie.
And Jeff, this break in the action is brought to you by Feel Good Films. Have you ever had a bad day? Jeff, when's the last time you had a bad day?
Yeah, today.
Today?
Yeah.
What happened? Oh, you forgot
the microphone.
So yeah, Jeff,
Not
you
a
had a
good
bad day, you forgot the microphone. You know what would put a smile on your face? Going onto YouTube, clicking that channel filter, and searching Feel Good Films, because it will help brighten up your day.
All right, welcome back, and thanks for tuning in to our first ever interview on Chop Podcast. I'm here with Frankie. For those of you who don't know and didn't listen to the rest of the podcast, Frankie's my co-host here on Chopping It Up. He was my college roommate back at the University of Connecticut, and we go back pretty far, Frankie, and this is fun to do every week.
Frankie's a little nervous for this interview.
Yeah, and you're also talking in third person, so that's cool. So I guess we'll kick it off on a more serious note. So, Frankie, this podcast was your idea. For those who didn't know, Frankie contacted me and said, "Hey, I have an idea of doing a podcast every week. I think it'd be a lot of fun and it'd be a good hobby for us." And I agreed. Obviously, that's why we're here. So, Frankie, when you first had the idea, what made you want to get into podcasting?
Well, I was driving, so I was testing water. I actually referenced that earlier on this podcast. And I was driving around. So basically what I do is I go to different sites around Norwich and I test water. And I was just driving around, just lost in my own thoughts, which that happens a lot. And I've been a big fan of Barstool Sports. I'm not hiding that. Big Barstool guy. And I think a lot of their podcasts are quite funny. And I thought back to some of the conversations that we used to have back in the dorm room. Some were serious, and then some were completely out there and joking around. But I thought that they were still kind of pretty good content, and I felt like if we, we don't have too much going on this summer, so why not once a week just sit down and do a little podcasting for fun?
Right.
And so then I started to think about a few segments. Came up with like Right Kind of Politics, Hollywood for Dummies, Off the Cuff, and it's just kind of morphed into a little podcast. So that's where we're at.
And we've had a lot of fun with it, and I think it's safe to say that we're going to keep going with this as time goes on. So put yourself in an ideal future. What point do you want to see Chopping It Up, your podcast? What point do you see it reaching? Where do you want it to go?
Oh, I don't know.
As big as Barstool?
Well, obviously, yeah, but I just don't. I mean, I've always been a realist, and no, you know what? We're gonna get there. Let's be optimistic for once, huh? So yeah, we're gonna get there. The goal is to have Chopping It Up be kind of. It was still gonna be small. We're not gonna be the size of Barstool. Let's be honest. So we're gonna try to get it, as big as, let's say, a regional crowd, a little Connecticut. Even if it's southeastern Connecticut, if we can get pretty big in southeastern Connecticut, then we can grow from there. And I want to try to do something that will link both Chopping It Up to the Chop Classic that we have every year.
Right.
Because I think
right,
that's very good content. Whether it's us turning, I kind of already do a little broadcasting during the Chop Classic, but kind of bringing the two together. So that's one idea. And then the second idea, you're probably not going to like this, but it would be to completely sell out with Chopping It Up and apply for a job at Barstool.
Hey,
and maybe get given be given a chance at Barstool because we've been doing these podcasts every week,
right?
And some of the content we've been doing. So yeah, I guess either optimistic or just be a complete sellout.
Well, you've laid out some challenging goals there, and obviously we're working hard to accomplish those. But on a more personal note, what do you tend to do to find inspiration to overcome challenges in your life? I know you work very hard.
This is getting serious.
Well, we're here to get to know you, Frankie, on behalf of myself, our friends, and our listeners. You're in graduate school, you do this podcast, and you've taken on a lot of different things in your life. Just, what do you draw on for inspiration in various situations?
I think a lot of the times it's pretty simple. I kind of just step back, give myself a little pep talk, like, Frankie, what are we doing here? There goes the third person again. But I kind of say to myself, seriously, like, Frankie, what are we doing here? And how do we make this situation better? How do we need to get done what we need to get done? Sometimes I'll say to myself, don't be so soft and just do this, get this done. And, this is just a small example, but, you lived with me 2 years ago, and when would I do my papers, Jeff?
Always late at night. It'd be due 8 o'clock in the morning the next day, and I'd see you up at the crack of dawn.
And what would I always say? It was never pleasant. I hated doing this. I hated myself that I would always do this to myself. Like, why do you do this? You're an idiot. You could have been doing this 2 days ago when you were doing nothing. But what do I say, Jeff? Do you remember?
There was a couple different things you'd say. Normally you'd say, "Oh, I'm not even worried about it." That was one I heard a lot.
That was probably true for most of the time until it got to about an hour left and I started to do the works cited page. Then I started to worry about it, greatly. But what I would say is you just got to get it done. No matter what happened before, no matter what happens after, you just got to get it done. No excuses. No one likes excuses. Just get it done. And that's kind of my motto, my mantra. Sometimes it's not pretty. Sometimes I fail, but you just got to get it done.
And you're not just an all work kind of guy. You definitely have a party side. I saw a lot of
Just
that.
a little bit.
Yeah, I saw a lot of that at the bar. And you were always big into the music at the bar. So Frankie, if you had to pick,
Gotta have a good DJ.
what's your favorite bar jam?
My favorite.
You've got a
bar?
couple drinks in you. Favorite
This one's
song?
easy, Jeff. This one is easy.
I think I know which one it'll be.
This one is "Living on a Prayer" by Bon Jovi. This is bringing back the days of Nickel at UConn. This would come on right around 9:45 when Nickel was, closing up. And there's nothing better than "Living on a Prayer" by Bon Jovi. There's also a few other good ones if you want me to give a few.
Oh, feel free, yeah.
"Living on the Prayer" is probably one. Number 2, I think, is "Sweet Caroline."
Of course, yeah.
Okay, I think that's 2. I think 3 is not a specific song, just like some type of Blink-182, maybe a Stacy's Mom. I know that's a song. So kind of like one of those types of songs. That's a good number 3. Number 4, can you think of anything?
I don't know.
Is there anything?
It seems like you're going for a top 5 here. I think.
Yeah, we're going to go with top 3. Those are the top 3. I think they're all alone. I don't think there's any types of songs, any specific songs that really rival those songs. I think that's the top 3. You're at the bar, you've had a few drinks, packed bar. Those songs really get the place going.
That's I've seen you belting out quite a few of those songs after a couple drinks, and it's always a good time. It's always a good show. So this next question, I figured I'd test you a little bit. Let's see how you can compose yourself under pressure. So imagine this scenario: you're watching a sporting event, and a blind person walks up to you at the bar, and they ask what color jersey the team is wearing, and the team is wearing a yellow jersey. How would you describe the color yellow to a blind person? Let's see what you got.
How would I describe the color yellow?
Because they're just trolling the hell out of you, but you gotta come out on top here.
Wow, this is a pretty awesome question. The color yellow. I would say I would have the person think of when they get a cold and they have the mucus built up in their mouth and their nose. It's a little nasty. But when they have that mucus built up, and I want them to imagine what color that mucus is based on how it feels, I think that's the color yellow.
Oh, that's pretty gross.
Yeah,
that's pretty gross.
Yeah, well,
but as you describe it, like I don't know whether I'm biased because I've seen it, but I think that's pretty accurate. I'd say you'd win that.
I mean, I think that's an impossible task, no?
Maybe. I don't know. I've never been blind.
Yeah, hopefully we don't know. Knock on wood. But yeah, that's what I'd go with. I would go with what color mucus feels like.
Okay. Well, and since we're on colors, I'm curious. I saw this the other day because my niece is of the age where she's now starting to color in coloring books and whatnot, and she had the big 64 pack of the Crayola crayons.
I like how you say crayons.
Why? How do other people pronounce
You
it?
just say crayons.
Crayons?
Yeah.
You skip the Y, huh? Doesn't even matter.
Just crayons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we can agree to disagree on that one. But if you were to introduce a new color to the crayon box, what would it be?
The crayon box. The new color. There's so many colors.
It's a Frankie special edition.
There's so many colors that already exist. This is a tough
There's
one.
only 64 in that box, Frankie.
Yeah, that's a lot of colors.
True.
Oh, gee. I'm looking. For those of you who can't see me right now, I'm looking around the room, just trying to find any type of resemblance of some type of color that I would like. I'm a big gray guy. I actually like gray a lot, which is
you sport a lot of groutfits,
which is a little weird. I don't think gray is most people's favorite color. I think a gray with like a royal blue mixed in. So if you mix the two colors, I think that'd be a pretty neat looking color.
Actually, yeah, I could see that. Like, as you first said that, I'm like, all right, maybe robin's egg blue. But now that I think about it, I think it'd be darker.
Yeah, like a
darker.
dark blue mixed with like a light gray.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I think that'd be.
What would you call
neat.
it? What would the color be? Because this is the special edition. It's got to have a name. It's like Ben and Jerry's, like.
I don't know. I don't know.
Bleed blue. We'll do that
Bleed
as a
blue. I don't love it. See, I don't love it. I want something that I love. I want a name that I love. I don't love it. It might take me, the next 2 minutes of silence to come up with a name that I love, but I want a name that I love. What about... I got nothing.
All right, so imagine yourself. It's the end of the interview. You walk outside. It's a breezy day, and a lottery ticket flies, hits your shoe. You pick it up. It's a Saturday night. You find out it's the winning Powerball number. What are you doing with the winnings?
Oh, we don't have enough time on this podcast for what I'm doing with the winnings.
First three things.
No,
Top
it's okay.
three
No,
things.
it's okay. We'll go on. I love this. I love this question. So for those of you who don't know, when I'm not thinking about what we were going to do for the podcast segments, I think about what would happen and what I would spend my money on if I won the lottery. So this is like my favorite question in the world. Like I've thought about this for 5-6 hours at a time.
Pretty sure you don't play the lottery, right? It's just
I
awesome.
play it about once every 4 months when the Mega Millions or the Powerball gets up to about 400 or 500 million.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Right, because
At that
you have
point.
the same odds of winning at that price that you do when it's earlier. I don't want 90 million. I want 500 million. Right? I'm going to be greedy, absolutely. And so, all right. So where do we start here? So I win the lottery. This is the first thing I do. Is I was told by a wise man. Shout out to Dylan. I was told by a wise man that you start a business. You start an LLC to claim the lottery ticket winner. Because when you claim the lottery ticket winner as an LLC, you don't have to report your name. So no one knows who actually wins it. It just says, Chop LLC won the lottery in Norwich,
Patent
Connecticut.
pending. Nobody steal that trademark.
Yeah,
It's coming.
it's
Chop LLC.
It's coming soon. If you ever see Chop LLC wins the lottery, you know who it is. And so you claim the ticket as Chop LLC, so not as many people know that you won. And that just makes it perfect. Because then you have over your entire family, you have over your entire close, group of friends, and you basically present like the life that you're all going to live moving forward because you got so lucky and won the lottery, and none of them have any idea. And not only that, you don't really have to worry, you don't have to pay for as much security when you first win because not as many people know that you won. Obviously, you still have to have some security. If I'm winning 500 million, the second thing I'm doing after I start the business is I'm getting a few bodyguards, for sure. And so, okay, let's start with the family. So the family, the surrounding family, I'll hook them all up. I'll get them situated, whatever they need. And my overall take on this is that, if I won the lottery, if I won that much money, I would want to take care of all the people that I like being around, and family, friends. It's no fun if I just kept all that money for myself and I didn't get to see them enjoy some of this happiness. And so family, I would take care of the family. For my immediate family, I'd set my parents up in a nice, luxurious condo down in Florida or in San Diego because I know they love it in both places. And yeah, so they could just happily retire there, go to the beach every day. I know Steve would love that.
Of course.
Start playing a little golf. And golf is a common theme with if I won the lottery. So that's what I would do with the family. Then, in terms of the friends, basically I would set up, we would move, I would get my core group of friends, the guys that I really like, and we would move to Florida, we'd move to Miami, we would move into about a $15-20 million mansion, and if you're thinking I'm crazy at this point, don't worry, it gets better. I've already looked up some mansions in Florida on Zillow that we would buy, and let me tell you, there's some sick spots for $15-20 million in Miami. And so we'd have a mansion in Miami. We'd have a nice mansion out in California. Those would probably be the two destinations that we would go to. We would get golf memberships at the sickest courses in both places, and we'd buy a yacht. We'd buy a few jet skis because I once tried to buy some jet skis off of Craigslist, and that didn't really quite work out. And Jeff, we would be living the life. You'd be living the life. You'd be a part of it.
Hey,
so congratulations,
hey,
you made the cut. And so me and the boys would just be living it. We would just be absolutely living if we won the lottery. And that's, without getting into too many details, like I said, I could honestly talk about this for an hour. Like I have it all planned out.
No, I think that's a good plan. So 4 months from now, if chopping it up just starts going quiet, if you guys don't hear from us, you'll
then
probably
we pop
know why.
up. Then we pop up recording from a yacht in the middle of the Atlantic, off the coast of Miami. You'll know what happened.
I feel like that would be both really cool and really difficult at the same time.
I'm sure when you got a few mil laying around, we can.
Yeah, we'll be fine. We're chilling.
Yeah, we can make it happen.
Well, it'll basically be the exact same show, except we'll be holding martinis instead.
Right.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's a cool future. Well, Frankie, I know this is it's uncomfortable being interviewed, but we appreciate you. I'm speaking on behalf of myself and the viewers here. We appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be interviewed for the podcast, and for those of you who are listening out there, again, we're trying to connect with our fans and build a good community here. So thanks for tuning in. And
next week we'll have the interview with Jeff.
We'll
make him
that'll
uncomfortable.
Be interesting. Hey, I don't get uncomfortable.
Oh, okay. All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.